kind of talking about that project within Sierra Jobs First initiative and thinking about entrepreneurship, it's so key that we continue to develop people within this industry from a young age. So myself personally, through the Central Sierra Economic Development District, had a youth entrepreneurship project funded through the Sierra Jobs First initiative last Friday. So I'm very, very excited to get some young people interested in some of these key industry sectors, including biomass. They may not actually be creating businesses. The goal is to create businesses, but just to get them invested within their local communities and with industry leaders to start thinking about innovative ways that they can participate in our local economies and grow businesses within this community is really, really important. One thing we've recognized is that this region has a huge youth out-migration problem. So anything that we can do to keep our youth here and engaged with our key industry sectors and grow businesses in this region is really, really close to my heart and important to solving the workforce and economic challenges that we currently have. So workforce potential, we talked a little bit about this, but there's a diverse range of different industries and different potential workforce pathways that we can endeavor to prop up this industry. So we talked about equipment operators and technicians and CDL drivers, but I think there's just a myriad of different positions that we can drive workforce pathways to really support this industry. And I think that's crucial to note, because when we talk about these high road jobs, you know, high road is like $25 an hour right now, right? And if we think about how many of you could actually sustain your family on $25 an hour, it's still a challenge in today's economy. So understanding where we can actually have these career ladders where someone may start as an equipment operator or a technician, but grow into a project management role, really have that on-the-job training to grow themselves within their role. Talking about earn and learn pathways, this is something that we've utilized with some of our partners in thinking about on-the-job training, thinking about ways that we can get employees in to just have the experience within the industry sector. We took a great picture with all the Heartwood Biomass folks at the end of our tour. And I can't tell you how many smiling faces there were, how many people that actually are excited to go to work and be participatory in this economy. It really blew my mind, and it touched my heart to see these people who have changed their lives by getting these entry level jobs and then being able to grow themselves within their roles. So really, really exciting stuff. One important part of this is the connection between education, and we talked a little bit about industry, and then the workforce board. So as Motherlode Job Training, we have participated and taken a model from Fresno to create the Greater Sierra Forestry Corps, which is a program that we run through Columbia College in partnership with Columbia College that produces all sorts of different career opportunities for folks that engage with these pathways. So some of them may go work to do forest thinning, some of them may work at Heartwood Biomass, some may work for CAL FIRE. It provides a lot of different opportunities, and it's a short program. So you'll be able to go in, learn the basics. It has an educational in-person component, a book learning component, but also a field component where you actually get to work out in the field and feel and touch and understand what work in the field looks like for a forestry technician professional. The important part of this is also that this is just a starting place. So this short coursework that prepares people for all these different jobs also could lead to an associate's degree, right? And then people, if they really have a passion for it, they can go get a bachelor's degree or continue their education, and that only advances their opportunities within this field. I think kind of key to think about the holistic nature of this is that when we're thinking about economic development, attraction is a huge part of that, right? So by having a skilled and trained workforce ready to go, we'll attract those businesses by saying, hey, come to Tuolumne County, come to the Greater Sierra region, because we have the skilled and trained workforce who is ready to participate in this economy. We'll attract new businesses. You know, we can be as pro-business as we want to, but if we don't have the workforce to support this important industry, it doesn't mean anything. If there's no workers to fill the jobs, the business doesn't go, and I think we all know that. Go ahead. So thinking about what this all means as far as the context to equity, innovation, and strategy. So we want to prioritize like local hiring. I think that's so key in this role is we're keeping the money in the region, right? historically, some of these jobs may have been sourced, people may have come from other regions. So by developing that workforce, we're keeping people in region, supporting our workforce and job quality. I think also kind of important to touch on here is that a lot of these jobs are targeted towards historically underrepresented populations, which is part of Motherlode Job Training's charter, is to touch some of these groups that perhaps historically were not represented in these fields, engage them and get them into careers where they can be successful. Innovative solutions to ensure the continuum of biomass working towards carbon neutrality and advancing carbon sequestration. So talking about these big goals of the state of California and how we can support that with industry. So aligning ourselves in such a way that we realize this is an important industry sector for the Sierra region, but how do we also contribute to what the state of California's goals are and how the economic blueprint, which some of you may be familiar with and I'm happy to discuss more, kind of sets these very firm goals for the state of California moving forward. We talked a little bit about Sierra Jobs First. It's such an important initiative under the California Jobs First initiative. We were very, very delighted. As of Friday, there is a $9 million infusion into this region for projects. So $9 million that didn't exist 5 days ago now exists within this region for new projects. Not all of those projects are in the natural and working lands industry, but a significant quantity of them are. So we're going to see a lot of new and innovative projects that come to this region to support this economy, and that alignment between this work here that we're doing today and in the future, and the alignment with broader California Jobs First and Sierra Jobs First initiative is really, really critical. And then finally, regional economic development strategy. So part of the reason we're here today is because of CSED and CLEAR, and CSED has a recently authored comprehensive economic development strategy, and biomass utilization is obviously a huge part of that. The economic development strategy has very, very lofty goals, some of which may be attainable within 5 years, some of which are more reasonably approached, and biomass is one that I've definitely targeted as something that we can really hone in on and accelerate within this region. So when we're considering that economic development strategy and what works for this region and what really will prop up industry and prop up business attraction and retention, being part of that comprehensive economic development strategy and understanding the nexus between CLEAR and other industry and that economic development strategy is really important. Something also to understand is that as part of that Sierra Jobs First initiative, we developed a regional strategic plan. So the strategic plan is a workforce and economic development plan for the region. What we were informed of about a couple weeks ago was that the state actually intends to take that regional strategic plan and create a comprehensive economic development strategy for the region. So the CSED region is Amador, Alpine, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and Mariposa counties. The Sierra Jobs First region is also inclusive of Inyo and Mono counties. So we're talking about very, very different feedstock, very, very different biomass concerns. They have a lot of different industry on the east side of the Sierras, talking more about carbon sequestration and other industries that may be a little bit more niche to what we're doing here. But as we think about implementing that as a comprehensive economic development strategy, thinking more broadly as the Sierra region, right? And the state has defined us as this region, and kind of future looking, we feel that this may be the region for California looking at the Sierra region moving forward. So this SEDS that will be developed from the regional strategic plan is not meant to override our existing SEDS, it's meant to complement it. So things that perhaps weren't seen or weren't addressed in that first comprehensive economic development strategy will be further endeavored in the regional strategic plan as it turns into a comprehensive economic development strategy. Go ahead, Brandon. So yeah, I tried to keep it very, very high level. I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have. This lovely QR code up here, one part that I didn't mention, as part of our role, Motherlode Job Training and CSED are the sector navigators for the natural and working lands industry for Sierra Jobs First. You may be saying, what does that mean? Well, so we'll be working with industry and community colleges and our community-based organizations to start an outreach for a working group. So if you scan this will take you to our outreach page where you can sign up to be part of that working group. And then from there, we will kind of filter up into an industry sector partnership. So we'll be taking all the feedback from our outreach and kind of gaining our strategic partners, leveraging our existing social capital and growing it through these working groups. And then we'll filter up into an industry sector partnership that will happen later this year. So this event here is just here in a couple weeks. I believe this is April 17th is our outreach group for our sector working group. And I would encourage everyone here to be a part of that, have a voice within that, and be able to affect change within the natural and working lands industry in the Greater Sierra region. Thank you all very much.